welcome you to the first Farow at Home live stream. I am Chef Patrick, and today we are going to be making a Tikka Masala spice rubbed confit chicken, not actual Tikka Masala. That's going to be going with a spiced yogurt and some roasted vegetables tossed in some cilantro chutney. So we have the recipe in the description, and we're doing this live, so please, if you have questions as we go, ask them. Just let me know. And anything else you need, I'm here to help you guys and answer. So first things first, we're going to get started so we can get everything going as quick as possible. So first, I'm going to turn on the oven. This is for roasting vegetables, so we are going to do 500 with the broiler. I found out a lot. At Farow, we had a sweet pizza oven. Roasting vegetables in that thing was the best, so we are going to try and do these on as high heat as possible to get a little caramelization, but then the vegetables are still tender. So with that heating up, we're going to move right into the spice rub for the chicken so we can get those seasoning going. So we use whole spices for the most part to try and get the most flavor out of them, because the oils, after you grind them, start to dissipate. So we're going to do these fresh. So we're starting with 2 tablespoons of coriander here. And I use my hand, we eyeball it. As long as the ratio is there, like, you're gonna have a proper tasting stuff, but please, by all means, use a measuring spoon if you'd like. Right. 2 tablespoons of paprika. I am just gonna put everything in. You can see we have these kind of clumped up, so I'm just gonna blend it all together.
Yeah, and the spices that we use don't have any kind of fillers or additives in them. So they do kind of clump sometimes, but at least you know you're getting 100% of what you're paying for.
Yeah, 2 tablespoons cumin, and I do have my lovely co-host here with us today. She is not on camera, but she is indeed here. So, moving right on. So, this is Kashmiri chili. This is going to be a chili native to India. It's a kind of a spicy, almost like cayenne, but then has a smokiness like smoked paprika. You could do a mixture of the two if you don't have this specific chili available, but we're doing 2 teaspoons of this. And then for the rest of these, we're going to be doing a 1/2 teaspoon. So just really a baby sprinkle for the nutmeg. We'll just take this chunk here, throw it in. Cinnamon. So we have this hand-rolled cinnamon quills from Burlap Barrel. They're super fruity. We're just gonna kind of crunch one up, throw it in here. We're gonna do another 1/2 teaspoon cardamom, and a little pepper. There we are. So I'm gonna grind these really quick. Course. Cool. Not really concerned. So this is a little chunky still. So we've got spices ground. We're going to take our chicken thighs. So I'm using a Dutch oven back here for cooking these. Ideally, you're using something to hold these where the chicken just kind of fills it as tightly as possible with one layer in the bottom, because when we add our duck fat or cooking oil or whatever you're using to confit these chicken in, we don't want to have to put too much excess in there. We want to be able to just fill it to just barely cover and not have this giant space to fill with oil. So preheating the pan. So after we season these, we're going to sear them really quick and then add our fat.
Those spices smell so good.
This is going to be pretty cool.
Even from all the way across the kitchen.
So we'll do this. Coat these really well. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we just want to make sure these get nice and coated. We want as much flavor as we can to kind of get into this chicken. Now, when we get the oil over it, the oil is going to infuse with these spices to kind of help as well, but we want to get as much in there as possible. All right. Pan feels nice and warm. So all we're going to do is kind of get a slight sear on the skin side really quick, flip them, and then immediately add our fat to the pan so we can get these cooking. Get them in there. Just let those sit. Make sure you're washing your hands really well in between. All right. So, these chickens are working. Get our workspace cleared off kind of into the sink here. While they're searing, we can start processing some vegetables. So, root veggies this time of year, really what you're going to have available, most places anyway. Potatoes, carrots, rutabagas, purple top turnips, beets. Those are going to be your primary winter storage crops that are available locally at this time. If you get lucky, you'll find some winter squash still. But most of the time that's all used up by now. So today we're going to be working with potatoes and carrots. These are going to be from a local farm here called Sunflower Farms. You know, we're fortunate enough for them to have some of this stuff left, so we're getting everything peeled. Trying to smell these here. Check.
What are you checking for?
I just want to get a little color on the skin, realistically. Just get some of the chicken fat start to render out on them.
Should they be releasing easily when you go to pick them up?
Yes, though, unless you drop them in a cold pan, they will release for you. And we're really close to just being able to flip these and then adding some fat just to cover. But all right. These are probably good. Yeah. So we started to render that skin out. And these are cooking in fat, so they'll continue to kind of render, but I just wanted to get them started. All right, so I'm using duck fat. You can get duck fat and lard and all these things at the grocery stores nowadays. I believe the brand is Epic, I want to say. At this point, if you want to cut it with a little avocado oil, you could do a little olive oil in there. We just want to, we're not going to be ripping these. Once all this fat melts, we'll turn them down to super low. And cover it and just let these simmer for a while. We're essentially poaching them, I mean. But once that melts, they are working. So we'll go ahead and turn this on low. Give them a slight wiggle to make sure they're not stuck. And oil holds a lot more heat than water. So you just have to be mindful of ripping these too hard. So cut this to low. We're just going to cover it. And we'll come back and check these in a bit. I do like to peel these when these potatoes or any veggies that have been stored for a while. Their skins can typically it's just typically thicker skin than, because they've had so much time to cure, than what you would see on like fresh new potatoes right out of the ground, or fresh carrots, or any of these, fresh out of the ground. So.
I have a question coming in. Can you reuse the duck fat?
Yes. You should save it can just keep it in the fridge and use it over and over again. At the restaurant, I mean, you know, you're going to have, the chicken is going to release some collagen and stuff because it's the thigh, which will settle at the bottom. So after your fat cools, you can scoop it off the top of that. Essentially, it's like a meat jello that'll settle at the bottom. You just want to separate that and you can hold it, because if something was going to go bad, it would be that like kind of liquid that settles at the bottom after cooking. So you just want to make sure you kind of scrape that off. I mean, we would use our fat for our confit pretty much indefinitely. And we were making, what? We were making 40 pounds of confit every 3 days, so. But.
So it never goes bad?
The fat?
Yeah.
No. I mean, you do. You'll know. I mean, you do have the potential to grow mold on the surface, but like I've never seen that happen if you just store it in a clean container and then seal it up, and then you put it in a clean container after every time you use it. So, yeah. Right on. So, veggies are peeled. I do recommend, like if you're trying to feed your family, I recommend like 6 to 8 ounces of raw vegetables per person, of raw veggies. So if you're out shopping and trying to buy stuff, if you want leftovers for the week, just double that up and you can get a couple meals out of it. So for cutting these, I mean, I think we're going to do large dice or just a large chunks. So kind of this, you don't have to split it. Maybe there. Cool. Just trim off the small tops. You know. This. When you're cutting carrots, especially round carrots, a big one, so it's not dangerous, you don't want to just do this and like try and, it's going to roll on you. So please keep the tip of your knife on your board and come through. The same when you're doing this, keep the tip of your knife pushed down, just for safety purposes. Cool.
Oh, it smells so good in here.
Yeah, that fat is really
Oh, that mixed
infusing with all the
spices.
spices. And
Wow. I'm really excited to eat this later.
yeah. Yeah, this meal, I mean, I personally have not made this. It's just kind of something that piqued my interest because it's kind of the veggies we have available, and, you know, we can get yogurt and we can get these spices, and right now, this time of year here. So it's just trying to come up with things to make seasonal goods super tasty. I mean,
Well, I'm not hating all the baking spices that you got going on in that pot too.
yeah. And I mean,
Just extra comforting.
this is not traditional, but I mean, my rules for cooking are to make good food. And rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. So,
Kind of like Warren Buffett and losing money, huh?
Grant Cardone. but
from Warren Buffett originally.
well, either way.
It's been quoted a lot.
Yeah, of course, but cool.
You have any tips for chopping potatoes?
These
About the same as the carrots?
Well, they're softer than carrots typically, so you don't typically have to worry about them rolling around on you when you're trying to chop, especially if you have a sharp knife. So we're just going to chunk these up. They are a little softer than the carrots. They should cook a little faster than the carrot does. So we'll make them slightly larger. I mean, really, just keep your fingers out of the way of your knife. Cool. So, oven nice and hot. We're going to go ahead and cook these vegetables now. They're going to finish before the chicken.
How's that chicken looking?
Chicken's doing great. We have it on as low as the heat as the stove will go. It's bubbling, which means it's right at like kind of boiling temperature, which is fine. You just don't want that oil to get too hot. But let's see. All right. So we're going to take our large bowl here. Just get all our veg. So, for this, do a little oil. I mean, you could always toss your veg in a little bit of duck fat if you wanted. I mean, it's not going to be, wouldn't be terrible. And just a little salt. We're tossing these later in that cilantro chutney, so we're going to use that as kind of like the spice and everything. So we're not going to pepper. So, bowl. Love these wide angle stainless bowls. They're very convenient and they make seasoning very easy. So,
I think we got those on Amazon. Came in a
Probably.
set. Yeah, they're great.
So, spread your veg out evenly on your tray. We're going to go right in the oven here. Top rack, it's on broil. Just want them by the heat. Now, depending on your oven, this could go a lot quicker than it does for us. Our broiler, it's gas and it's got a shield. So the heat is not as intense as I've seen some electric stoves get. So it's just a matter of like, please keep an eye on it. I have in my head how long this is going to take, and I'll check on them every like 5 or 10 minutes to make sure we're not burning anything. But yeah, so all right, we are going to move on now to the cilantro chutney. So this is going to be kind of the, like I said earlier, this will be the seasoning for our root veg. So, and this is all Indian inspired. This cilantro chutney, from my understanding, I mean, almost every household makes it. Any restaurant in India will have it. It's made differently throughout the region. So, but we're going to make a version of it for this. If you don't like cilantro, arugula is great. That way, if you're just one of those that just does not like cilantro for whatever reason, chop up some arugula instead, and it's still really good. So, all right. You could blend this. You could throw this in a food processor. I'm just going to hand chop it similar to like a chimichurri, just because we'll have this small stainless bowl here. We can move this really quick to the compost bin. Cool. All right, so cilantro, definitely not in season here right now, but this is a California grown organic cilantro. We're not going to pick it or anything. We're going to take this whole bunch. Mind your fingers. If you don't want to do this much at a time, break it down a little, but you want to go as thin as possible. So when you're holding your bundle, keep your knuckles out so that the back of your knife goes along your knuckles, and don't keep your fingers out like this, so it's just safety. Thin as possible. And this is mainly to get those stems super fine, so that way they're easy to eat. Take it down as far as we can. Cool. All right. From here, we're going to go back the other way. And you'll just run your knife. We'll do it a few times. I don't want to bruise this stuff, so I mean, it's important to kind of have like a sharp knife, because you're just going to be mashing it instead of cutting through it. So that's nice for me. Couple big leaves, not really super concerned. So get this wiped down. All right. If you have wine, now's a good time to take a little sip, you know, and enjoy what you're making. So I'm sipping on a little Literai. It's a Sonoma Coast Pinot. So yeah, it's good. But we're checking on veg, make sure nothing's on fire. We're good. For the chutney, we have fresh ginger. So we'll peel this with a spoon. If you don't have fresh ginger, so we're going to do about a tablespoon, or maybe a teaspoon. If you only have the powder, do about a quarter teaspoon. Cool. There we go. Wipe your knife. So, Ginger. You're going to want to slice across like so. If you this other way, if you slice it lengthwise, so that's going to be going, all this ginger fiber runs this lengthwise in these, so unless you cut it down really short, it can get very stringy. So if you were to like put this in a food processor, you could go from this state, since the fibers have been cut short, and it won't string up on you. But also, if you have a microplane, you could just microplane this. For the sake of not sure kind of what tools are available for people, we're just going to hand chop everything today. And I like ginger, so I got a little extra here, so we'll put about half of this in our chutney, and the other half is going to be going in the yogurt. So cool. Nice and chopped here. So like I said, we'll take about half. There we go. We can save this for the yogurt here in a minute. All right, garlic. We're going to lightly smash this. We don't want to go too hard. It's just the easiest way to peel these. Light smash, not Hulk smash. So nice. Now it's flat, makes it easy to hold, so you can slice it up. We'll remove that little root ball. Same deal. Garlic, we'll try and get this as fine as we can. Cool. It's great. Right in there. All right. I'm gonna rinse the garlic off, my knife. Another little wipe down on the board. So we'll do lime. We're going to put in just a pinch of sugar. Maybe 2. That'll be good. Cumin. It's not enough to really grind, so we can just...
I have a mortar and pestle if that's helpful.
Right on the board. Well, not everybody is going to have that, so we'll just take a pan really fast. Smash it with the bottom of your pan a little bit just to break it up. I mean, it's not... We have really fine cumin as well. It's from Afghanistan. But the typical cumin you'll see in the store is much... It's almost twice the size as far as like the seed size is concerned. So it'll be a little easier to mash up. All right. That's good. About a tablespoon of this. These are kind of dry. Do about a tablespoon or so of our oil.
And that little bit of cilantro and lime just made this whole room smell so good, especially mixed with that chicken right now.
Like ceviche.
Oh my God.
So we're just gonna take this, give it a stir. If you were making this in your blender, it'd be smooth right now. It seems to need a little more oil. So we want it to almost be saucy. I mean, not quite, but... Oh, sorry, I wasn't stirring that on camera. Huh?
It was hard to see.
Yeah. So I'm adding oil.
Chef, we had a rule number 3 added to the list here, that nothing's on fire.
Oh. Nice. I can get down with that. So, really bright, little garlic, ginger. I mean, almost tastes like Thai food, but I guess it's a similar, they're neighbors, kind of. All right. So, nice and seasoned up. We're leaving that for the veg for later.
Sorry to everybody that can't taste cilantro without it tasting like soap.
Yeah, like I said, use arugula. All right. Cool. We'll peek in just to check. I mean, make sure there's nothing going on. They look great. Check on your veg. They're getting close. Yours could be done. Depends on how hot your oven is, I guess. The broiler. All right. Cool. So next, set this to the side. We'll mix up some yogurt really quick. So that's going to get the rest of this ginger. We're going to have to do some more pan crushed cumin. We're going to do some chili flake. So about a teaspoon of chili flake. You can do more. We'll taste it. We might add more later, but
I think your food's got the dog interested.
yeah.
He suddenly became very active in the last little bit from nap time.
These. All right. Just a little mustard powder. If you can find mustard seed, that's more along the traditional lines of this, but now that I don't have a restaurant, they are difficult to come by. So
Burlap has them.
seeds?
Yep.
Oh, cool. So we've got chili flake. We'll do this cumin. I'm going to chop up some fresh mint. If you have dried mint, that's also fine. Cool. We're fortunate enough in the area. This is a regional mint grower down near Castle Rock, Colorado. They just grow all these nice culinary cooking herbs year round, so we have access to those pretty readily. right. Right. So again, we don't want to bruise these, but we're going to chop them up a little bit. Right, fresh mint.
Oh, that smells really good too.
Yeah. So, yogurt. We're going to put about a cup for this much filling. That's kind of what I put in the recipe. But everything is subject to change. For yogurt, as fatty as possible. That's kind of my opinion.
Why do you like full fat?
The texture is just unreal. All the fattiness, just, it's like the difference between whole milk and skim milk, like the mouthfeel and everything. I just, honestly, if I could get even higher fat, I would. But and this stuff, so we're using Farow brand out of New York. Right now, if I could get our local stuff, we just weren't in the area to go pick that up this week, so I couldn't get any. But
Where do you get it from locally?
I mean, around here, once the farmers market starts, Moxie and Boulder will typically have some. Black Belly and Boulder, if you're at the butcher shop, they'll have some local stuff. But so, and if you're not in this area and you're tuning in, you'll just have to start by looking up maybe farm stands or going to the markets and kind of seeing what you can find. But so, little salt, and we'll give this a taste. And this is going to be going on the plate under the veggies.
Looks like you've got a little live studio audience over there.
Yeah. Cool. Nice. Traditional spiced Indian yogurt. I believe they pronounce it raita, but cool. So, with the chutney made, the yogurt made, if you guys are enjoying getting anything out of this, please like and subscribe to the channel. Yeah. So we are going to double check vegetables again. So you kind of see we're getting some nice color. We are pretty close. Try one for tender. You know, it's just kind of where I like my vegetables.
Which is?
Tender, but there's still some texture. They're not mush. So, yeah, I'm going to pull these now. And we'll check on our chicken. I'm not expecting it to be ready, but you never know. We got a little time here.
What are you checking for?
Tenderness.
What does that feel like?
So Right now the muscle is really tight, and
I mean, because if I'm looking at that, it looks to me like it would be done.
well, I mean,
So how do you know?
well, so I mean, I'm going to temp it, and these technically are cooked, but we're going to take these up a little further because I really want the meat to, when we pick them up, like I want it to be more closer to falling apart when we touch them, like easier to pull than what they are now. They're definitely close, but you know, if you're gonna call it a temperature around 200, you know, if you're using a thermometer or something, you know, where you can get right on the bone. We're hitting about 192 at the bone, so a little further. I mean, these are cooking really fast, though.
What temperature are you looking for?
Right around 200, really.
Okay.
For chicken thighs to, like, be really tender. So it's like when we're slow cooking brisket, pork shoulder, I mean, all those temperatures for those proteins to fully break down and like kind of almost be shreddable, you're looking around like 200, 205. So, but this is fully cooked. You could eat it now if you like really needed to eat. So, but
Just won't quite be at like the perfect.
yeah, it won't be like as nice. But so with that checked, I think during our downtime, we just want to have a little discussion. It's kind of like almost podcast kind of vibe. So today we're going to kind of talk about eating, at least domestically, like for going to the store, picking up food, that kind of thing. Just because it really one, affects carbon footprint. Two, you know, whatever labor is involved. There's truly a lot of unknowns once you start getting outside of this country. I mean, it's bad enough here in the country, so it's really better to actually know where you're getting stuff from. But so, I mean, really what that looks like is kind of whether you can find farms like we have here, like Sunflower, that still have vegetables left, or you have some ranchers in the area, which we have a ton of here, where you can get your meat from. Or when you go to the store, if you're at a Whole Foods or a King Soopers, there are still some like regionally available products. It's just a matter of trying to look at labels and like just paying attention to what you're buying. I mean, for me, eating seasonally, it kind of makes you really appreciate when things come around. Big ones are all our stone fruit, asparagus, tomatoes. I mean, it's unreal how much better everything is when you're able to like kind of at least get it seasonally, whether that's in the country itself or from like more locally or regionally in your area. But
Yeah, I mean, tomatoes, especially this time of year, getting them at the grocery store compared to what you get in August from like our local farms, there's just no comparison in the flavor. I've actually, you know, it's funny, I've come to notice that too with potatoes. I never paid a lot of attention to that until we had opened the restaurant and we were always sourcing them locally and seasonally. And then all of a sudden, I realized after like having them fresh for so long that getting them from the store, they taste different. I mean, they're not like bad from the store necessarily. I don't think they're like on the level of tomatoes this time of year versus summertime, like bad, but like there's definitely a difference you can taste.
Yeah, and I mean, it comes down to like, you know, you can get right now I know for sure, like if you go to like a Whole Foods in our area out here, you can get regional potatoes that were grown outside of Fort Collins somewhere, still available. And a lot of the year you can get some regional carrots that are grown outside of Fort Collins, and they do everything organic, and they're still trying, but it's more of a more widely available, larger farm, and it really like comes down to freshness, right? And produce that's picked early when they gas it to kind of preserve it, and then they ship it from Chile and Guatemala and all these different places. I mean, the carbon that's going into it is we're contributing a lot of factors to the environment that, if for some reason there was a gas shortage, it wouldn't be here anyway. So, you're just better off appreciating it when it's here, and when you can't get it, we're trying to cook with all these things like as we can get them. Asparagus, when you only eat it for that month, is insanely good, and we're going to buy a ton of it and cook it 100 different ways and make a bunch of different dishes, and then when it's gone, you're tired of it, but then you're looking forward to it by the time it's back. So like right now, I was going through the grocery store the other day and I saw cherries from Chile, and I mean, I'm sure they're all right, but I don't know.
Compared to the Western Slope cherries that we're going to get in June, July,
yeah, the ones we get here are just so excellent, or the ones you can get in your area are going to be just even better. So why, what is it?
Compromise, yeah.
Compromise, and if you're interested in that, I mean, if you're not in this area, I would just Google search for farm stands or farmers markets and start there. I mean, you can just walk around and talk to farmers, and if you find somebody, or email somebody in your area, if they're not selling to people, they might know somebody that is, because there are some farms that just sell to restaurants. So
I'm going to be working on getting a page up on the website too, with a map for local shopping if people are interested in finding a local farm to purchase from, getting CSAs, getting things like flour and eggs and all of that kind of stuff. I think one of the amazing things too about all the farmers that we have in this area is that they actually prioritize regenerative farming, or a lot of them do, especially the ones that we deal with at the farmers market, that we're working with at the restaurant. So they're making sure that their soil's really healthy. You're getting tons of nutrients and vitamins and all of that in your vegetables that you may not be getting from the gassed vegetables at the grocery store, especially if they came from another country or an extremely long distance. They were picked before they were ripe. They were gassed. They're treated in so many different ways that make them look pretty and preserve them, but don't necessarily help with the flavor or the nutrition. I think the nutrition translates to flavor in my mind.
Well, yeah, because you can get, it's crazy, because if you look at, this is just one example, but it's pretty profound. Like spinach from the store. You take a spinach leaf and it tastes like water, which is fine. It's whatever, but the actual spinach grown in soil that's layers of the regenerative crop rotations, they make sure minerals are going back in, they're adding different types of compost and everything. You can get a spinach leaf and eat it, and it actually has a salinity to the leaf. It's crazy.
Or even
you don't even need, you could just snack on spinach leaves. It's wild.
Yeah. Well, even that overwintered spinach that you get at the beginning of the season at the farmer's market, wow, is that good? Yeah. Unlike anything I've ever eaten. It's so, so, so good.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's it's kind of part of, it's like at Farow, the food, you know, it's really good, and we don't, like, we know what we're doing, but we're starting with a very good product already. So, you know, really, when you showcase the farms, we're just kind of out here doing them justice because they put in 90% of the work for us throughout the year. So,
And you just cook it simply and
Yeah.
well, and it's amazing.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, there is stuff like chicken available locally. You know, locavore. If you're not trying to like drive around, we can probably get a link in the description for a few of these people, right?
Yeah, I can add one later when the live stream's
You know, you can order on a website and have local meat delivered to your house and vegetables when they're around through Locavore. He's got a pretty cool setup for his customers, and yeah, I mean, these chickens right here, we're pretty close.
We've
mean,
got
you
a
could-
very impatient little friend looking
Yeah,
at you.
I know. Good. So, I mean, looking at these, just to, sorry for flip-flopping on you from conversation to back to this, but, you know, if you kind of come over with your tongs and pinch it, it like kind of tears pretty immediately. So that means like we're pretty much there. So what I'm going to do now is we're just going to shut this off. I'm going to put these veggies, oven's still warm from earlier, so I'm just going to throw them back in really quick. We just don't want them to be cold, which they're not cold, but. And we're going to plate up because
It's dinner
let's
time.
make this meal that you just prepared look great. And then you'll feel good about it too. So. All right. So. We're going to pop this. Put our yogurt back in the fridge. Cool. So when the veggies come out, we'll go right into this chutney. But first, we're going to do yogurt right on the plate. Cool. So, we'll do it over here. It's fine. All right. So we've got our potatoes and carrots here, or whatever you ended up cooking, whether that's beets, rutabagas, turnips. I mean, this is almost... Oh, this smells so good, man.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, dude. So... Grab this big spoon. You know, just plate up whatever you would want to eat. I mean... We're going to do one nice spoon here. Here. We'll save the rest for tomorrow. Make these clean. All right, so the chicken we're just going to snatch a couple out. Put them right in this saute pan I used to.
Wow, this thing's almost falling apart. You can't even pick them up.
No, they're still good. It's just, so we're going to put that right on top of there. And there you have it. It's almost like going out to eat. So, well, thank you for tuning in. Again, hope you guys enjoyed. And if you didn't cook along with me today, you can always pop back and rewatch this on another day. So thanks for being here. See you next time.